We're back, people, and today we got another mock draft. Miami Dolphins 2025 NFL mock draft. This is version 4.0. Gonna kind of keep doing the same thing, taking my best player available. But I also want to try different, different versions of these mock drafts just to see like what the Dolphins could potentially do. So I'm not going to take too many of the same players like I did. And, I took Tyler Warren in the first round in the first one, then Will Johnson, then Armand Membo. I'm going to try to switch things up. So we'll see how this plays out. 7 rounds, see what ends up falling to pick 11 here. Okay, or pick 13. Very interesting. I was actually thinking going into this, I might take Jalen Walker but Walker goes 12 because Walker's kind of a defensive weapon piece. And I actually think the Dolphins have a very decent chance, like taking a versatile defensive weapon, whether it's a guy that plays linebacker edge or he can play D-line and edge, a guy that plays multiple spots in the secondary. I think that's pretty likely. But if the board were to fall like this, I think in this scenario, like at the top, then my two choices would be Will Campbell or Tyler Warren. I think Campbell is likely to be gone, especially with how he just tested at the combine at his size and his ability. The athleticism was even better than expected. And he would come right away. Right away and be a plug and play guard for you. There's always a word where these people fall. I think some of these guys get pushed up. Like I don't think James Pierce will go before. Let's see who else they have. I think Starks would probably go after as well. Everyone else I think kind of makes sense, but there's gonna be options here at 13. I think in most scenarios the Dolphins don't go O-line, but I think if there's two O-linemen they could take at 13, it's Will Campbell or Armand Membo. Since I already took Membo and I really like his fit, Campbell, plug and play guard right away, and he could also potentially be your tackle of the future. People want to move him to the inside because of the shorter arms, but I do think he's one of the guys that can play, and he's a very physical run blocker, which the Dolphins desperately need. So I'm going to go Will Campbell in this situation, just because that's how the board played out. Wasn't what I was expecting going into this, but I think they haven't updated their mock draft yet, which is, just one of those things. Oh, okay. Now, this is very interesting. This is going to be an unrealistic mock draft for sure. Because, okay, once you get to this scenario, I think Walter Nolan is for sure gone. I think Jahad Campbell is also gone. And those top two guys, I feel like I have to consider one of them. And since I was thinking Jalen Walker in the first round, Campbell really pops out to me. And he's another guy that, he's more of a true off-ball than Walker is, but he can also give you edge snaps. And this would allow you to, do some pretty impressive things at the off-ball linebacker position. Nolan, who I'm not as big a fan of in this draft as some other people, I would 100% be on board in the second round. I just know people have him going pretty high in the first. Now, if those two were gone, which I think in most scenarios they would be gone, I think everyone else here seems pretty realistic at the top. Like Trey Amos, I think would be an option. I think he kind of fits the scheme at corner, and corners become a pretty big need. He's got good, coverage versatility. He's very good in zone and man coverage. I think Jonas Savanaya is another good shout out, and I think he would be a possibility in the second. But this is pre-free agency, so it is tough to kind of predict, but I do have a feeling the Dolphins are going to go pretty O-line heavy in free agency. So I'm just going to go best player available here. This is kind of the scenario where, this is where you just go BPA. It's still, because I feel like some people would want to force O-line here and try to take Savanaya, or let's see who else is here. Maybe Marcus Bowe, Tate Ratledge. But in my opinion, if Nolan or Campbell's there, you got to take one of them. They're too good of talents to pass up on. And for me, I think I prefer Campbell, just because I think, he offers a little more versatility. And I think he's a little more ready right away, while Nolan is, I think still has some consistency problems. So Jahad Campbell, very, very good linebacker prospect. But this is why I think you definitely try to shore up all your needs in free agency so you can have this flexibility going into the draft. And obviously we took O-line in the first round. I wasn't, I was still thinking I was thinking defensive weapon, but that also takes care of the O-line kind of situation in the round one, so we don't have to, force that in round two, which is nice. I wouldn't have done that either way, even if I took another position in round one. So now that we got O-line, linebacker, two positions of need taken care of, and they would be two starters right away. Both kind of unrealistic. Then you go to the third round, pick 98. You get TJ Sanders here, who would kind of make up for the miss on Walter Nolan, because he is another 3 technique, very disruptive interior guy. I think he'd be pretty good value here. Let's see what else we got going on. I'm not looking at QB or running back here. It's too early for most of these guys. I think Scatabo could be in consideration, but Jack Besh is another one that I would like. Tight ends, all the tight ends are gone, so it looks like we're missing tight end in this class. The O-line, not worth it. Defensive side of the ball, we got a nice D tackle at the top edge, not looking too good. Linebacker, a little too early, I think, for all of those guys for me. So this basically just comes down to TJ Sanders. I think he's just the best value, and like compared to the other guys at the top, I think it's Stewart's a little inconsistent. Gillette is interesting. I don't think they need someone like Stewart. Holland Pierce is like a huge project. That'd be like taking an even bigger project than Patrick Paul was last year. So I think you just roll TJ Sanders, get another explosive defensive tackle in that room, a 3 tech. I think that's when the Dolphins will be looking at D-line as well, because I think they are a team that will consider taking D-line early, but if you look at, like, I think Greer will definitely is willing to take D-tackle early. He's done it before with, like, Wilkins. But also, I think if you look at the Ravens' history, they've never really gone D-tackle super early, and I think Weaver might be like, hey, I can get a lot out of D-tackles in, like, the 3rd round or later. So I think that kind of plays into it. And then you get to here, now we can kind of start getting into maybe some weapons. Cam Scatterbo fixes the short yardage problem. He's very effective in that area. He actually ended up testing. I think this test he did do, like, you could see the explosiveness. I think he had a good vertical. I think he's a good player to take here in this scenario. I'm a fan of him, and you know, definitely fits the room for the type of player that they're looking for. Who I really wanted Billy Bowman, but he just kind of went off the board right before, 132. So that kind of doesn't work out in the favor of what you're looking for. But there's some good value. So there, Jalen Reed. I think this is early for this Penn State safety. He's a solid player, but I'm not looking to go in that direction. Dolphins do desperately need some safety help, but I think I'm just waiting at that spot now. Might be a time to double up on D tackle because Darius Alexander is really good value here, and Alexander also is a guy that has like edge versatility, very explosive, good hands. He's got that blend of size, strength, athleticism that you really want. And I think at this point in the middle of round 4, that's amazing value. They have him rated pretty low here. I think he's going to go day 2 for sure. And now we roll into here. This is why, like, man, you don't need to force D tackle super early. It's like, I mean, if you at least go based off the mocks, it's like Jordan Phillips is still there. CJ West is still here. JJ Pegues is still here. All guys I would heavily consider at that spot. But let's go to linebacker. Damn, so a lot of them just went off the board like that I was considering. Could go safety. We could maybe, they have Hunter Wooler rated pretty low here, but I actually think Wooler is worth a 5th round pick. Corner, a little early for Muhammad in my opinion. The linebackers don't look great. Offense, maybe weak. I don't like the receivers. Don't look good in this area. I already took running back. Tight end, it's too early for all these guys. So yeah, this is where a pick we might have to go away from their board, because just because they're rated here on this board does not mean that's exactly what they are. Like I feel like PFN is a little late to update. Because, I mean, Hunter Wooler just touches super well. Like, his relative athletic score is 9.55. Like, he had a good 40 time. He tested well in the agility drills, explosive drills. I think he's an instinctive safety. He's listed at 6'2", 213. A guy that could potentially, fight for playing time, I think, with the Dolphins safety room right now. So I'm going to take him here. Round 5, go back to all. Still have the options to take. And might just triple up on D-line and might go JJ Pegues, because Pegues is also a guy that has versatility, because Darius Alexander and Pegues could both play edge from defensive line, so it just gives you so much wiggle room on the interior front and on the outside to add to that. And he's a guy that could potentially play fullback for you, and I'm just a big Pegues fan, and he's just my favorite player. Like, if I didn't take Sanders earlier, I probably would have gone CJ West, because I really like CJ West. Jordan Phillips is also a good player. Muhammad's good, but I think they have him boosted a little bit. But we're going to go Pegues. We're tripling up, which is fine by me. We got all the trenches. We got super physical across the board here. Ignored tight end, but that's like the way it goes sometimes. I think these drafts show that you're not going to be able to fill every position of need. That's why you got to go into free agency and get those stuff. Like, there are some tight end, like you could take John Bates from the Commanders. He's a Y blocking tight end. You're looking to upgrade there. But now we roll into this spot. I think I'm now looking to take some developmental guys. I could take Carson Vincent. He's a developmental athletic player. That's probably what I'm going to go with the first very big guy that would be a potential swing tackle of the future if you develop him correctly. And he's a very good athlete, very long. He's 6'7", 314. I think he has the traits they look for at the tackle position. So that's kind of where you go there. Then we look, let's see. Wide receivers, not don't love this at this range. Jalen Lane actually just tested super well, and he's going to get bumped up. Jalen Lane actually kind of reminds me of Malik Washington. They're similar sizes, the athleticism kind of as well. I think Lane even tested even crazier. But we're gonna go. Let's take a tight end, even one that's a little off the board. I'm gonna go. If that was at this point, I think these guys get drafted. I think Bartholomew gets drafted. Padone probably gets drafted, but he's more of a receiving guy. I think they're either going to consider Malachi Matavio, I don't want to say his name, sorry, or CJ Dippre, the Alabama kid. Both guys, like, he's 6'5", 260, so he has some good size to him, and like he displays some upside on tape with the receiving ability, but he also has the size to potentially be a blocker. Dippre, kind of the same thing from Alabama. Good size, has some ability to make some plays at the catch point. The blocking could be improved, but he is still, I think, one of the above average blocker compared to the class at least. So we'll take him there. This is where you're kind of just taking guys that kind of fit, and then now you take another safety that could potentially fit into that room. And I would take Craig Woodson. I feel like I've taken Craig Woodson a lot at the end of these drafts. So that's what I'm probably gonna do again. That feels like the pick to me. Get another Cal safety. Last year they took Patrick McMorris in the 6th. Let's get another Cal safety late in the draft. Craig Woodson. I think a guy that will probably go before this. So, yeah, we kind of look at our picks here. You get Will Campbell, first round. I think very good value. I think he's a guy that's probably going to be gone. He's a plug-and-play starter right away at guard. Helps you with your physicality problem up front. And I think it improves your running game for sure. And offensive line, I think there's some questions he has in pass protection from time to time, but those came at tackle. I think they become less of a problem at tackle if he's playing guard. It becomes less of a problem him playing guard instead of tackle. And it's very easy to pass protect in the Dolphins system. Campbell just gives you one of the better duos at linebacker in the league. Dolphins haven't had a good linebacker duo in a long time, but him and Jordan Brooks, athletic, rangy, I think is a huge boost to what Miami does. Because if you think about it, if you looked at what we're running a similar system to the Ravens. When the Ravens had Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith, man, that defense was electric, and it just helps all levels of the defense. Helps the guys up front, helps the guys in the secondary and coverage. There's really good stuff. And then, you get a lot of defensive line help. This is a class to do it. D-line's the position I feel like I double or triple up on every class because it's just so stacked. So I don't mind getting as stacked as possible at that spot. And then you get 2 safeties, a potential blocking tight end late, potential, high upside guy at tackle as well. And then you get a short yardage back, which was one of your biggest problems last year. So if you guys are doing it, comment, subscribe to the